And in this video, we are going to focus on aggregate functions. An aggregate function allows you to roll up and summarize your data in a query. For example, if you want to find out total number of account records in your Salesforce org, then you can use a function called count, and you can run this query on account object, and this is going to give you total number of records in account object. And let's say if you want to find out the maximum amount among all the opportunity records, then you can use a function called max, and you can use this function on amount field of opportunity object, and this is going to give you the maximum amount exists on an opportunity record. Now along with count and max, we have several other aggregate functions as well, and let's have a look at all of them. So we have a function called average, which returns the average value of a numeric field. So you can only pass a numeric field in the average function. You cannot pass a text field or a string field here. Then we have count, or count with a field name, and both of these returns the number of rows. Then we have count distinct as well, and this one disregards the duplicate values and returns distinct non-null values. Then we have min function, which returns the minimum value of a field. Then we have max, which returns the maximum value of a field. And then we have sum, which returns the total sum of a numeric field. So let's go back to developer console and let's try some of these functions. Here in our developer console, first we'll get the number of account records in our Salesforce org. And for that, I'm going to use the count aggregate function, and I'm going to use it on account object. So it's like select count from account, and here I haven't given any field name in the count function. So if you'll execute this query, the query result is total of 15 rows, but it doesn't include any of the column in the field result. You can also specify a field name in the count function. For example, I can say count of ID, and this again gives me similar result. So here as well I got the count of ID are 15. The only difference between these two functions is, so if you don't specify a field name, then you don't get a row in return, you simply get the number of records. But if you specify a field within the count function, then you get a row in return, and that row will include the number of records. You can give any name here. For example, you can give count of name as well, and this one will also give you the similar result. Now let's try to use count distinct, and again we are getting similar result. Now what I'll do, I'll go to my Salesforce org, and here I'll create a duplicate account. So I have an account with name SFDC Facts, and I'm going to create one more with the same name, and let's save it. And now if I run my query again with count distinct function, let me just refresh this grid, or let me execute it again. I'm still getting 15 rows, but if I'll use my count function instead of count distinct, I should get 16 rows. Let me close this one, and now if I'll execute it, so if I'll use count function, then I'm getting 16 rows, but if I use count distinct function, then I'm only getting 15 rows, because we are using this count distinct function on the name field, and the name includes a duplicate value. So if you'll change it to something else like count distinct ID, then you'll get 16 rows in return. So it depends which field value do you supply in the count distinct function, and based on that it will disregard the null values and duplicate values. Now let's try to get the sum of opportunity amount in our Salesforce org, and for that I'm going to use the sum function. And in this sum function, I'm going to specify my field name, which is amount from opportunity, and let's execute this query. So this is the total sum of amount field of all the opportunity records in our Salesforce org. We can get the maximum amount as well if we'll change the sum function to max function, and this is going to give us the maximum amount that exists on a opportunity record. You can change it to min as well, and this is going to give us the minimum amount, which is 15,000. We can also get the average opportunity amount as well just by changing this min function to average function, and this is going to give us the average amount. And the calculation is very simple. It simply divides the total sum of amount filled value by the total number of opportunity record. So these aggregate functions could be pretty useful in certain scenarios where you want to perform some calculations on the records that you retrieve from a SQL query. So instead of doing these operations in the Apex code, you could directly use these functions in your SQL query itself. So that's all in this video. In the next video, we are going to explore the group by clause in SQL query.